بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طب نبدأ اليوم we have to continue المحاضرة اللي فاتت اللي هي today we have to try to discuss the investing material after doing screwing and we have to do investing. Before we have to go through the investing technique, we have to go through the types of investing material. Investing material, as you know from dental material, it is either gypsum bonded investment, phosphate bonded investment, or silicate bonded investment, or magnesia based investment. Sometimes there is zirconia based investment. Magnesia and zirconia investment material specific for when we have to cast ceramic restoration. When we have to cast ceramic restoration, because it will withstand high temperatures and it will give a lot of maximum expansion. So in case of gypsum bonded investment, it is the composition, it is either binder and refractory material. The binder is composed from the calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Calcium sulfate hemihydrate, which is reproduced into the industry, into the from dihydrate when they are heating into the open vessel or flame. We try to get alpha hemihydrate. In case of the gypsum bonded investment, it is as a binder is composed from alpha hemihydrate. The aim of this binder to bind the refractory material. You have to bind the refractory material and to give an amount of strength to the investment material. And as we know that the mechanical property of the gypsum bonded investment, or gypsum as a binder, mechanical property is not so high. So we can use it only for gold alloy, and this is the mechanical property is not so high, and the ability to withstand the high heat is also not so high as compared with other factors of investment material. And the only thing is which we have to need it will the gypsum bond investment. It have high porosity, so the gas will escape from the mold easily. So the mechanical property is not so high, so we have only to cast with the gold alloys, and the heat temperature also withstanding temperature it is not above 1100 degrees centigrade. So it is only specific for the gold alloy. And the amount of expansion which given by gypsum product, it will give three types of expansion. The first expansion is called expansion or seating expansion during the transformation of hemihydrate to dihydrate during seating. So it will give amount of expansion. And when it is close to the water, in case of relative humidity 37 degrees, or both the wet liners, so in this situation it will take water, so it will give the hygroscopic expansion to more hemihydrate transfer to dihydrate. And this is the binder. So the main aim of binder would withstand the high temperature, so specific for gold alloys, and it will give more three types of expansion: seating expansion, hygroscopic expansion, and thermal expansion, which gives by the binder. And it is high porosity, so it's easy to escape of gases. And the binder is silica. This is the binder is the gypsum product, and the refractory material is the silica. The material which will withstand high temperature is the silica. The silica specified into three forms, as we know from dental material. It is either quartz or tridimite or cristabolite. So quartz, tridimite or cristabolite. The quartz, it is it will give amount of expansion, but it is not as much as that which given by the cristabolite. The expansion will give it above 700 degrees centigrade. So the quartz will give expansion in the temperature of 700 degrees centigrade. So it is more specific for the soldering, because the transformation around above 700 degrees centigrade. So we solder, we need the temperature up to 450 degrees. So the solder joint we are not need expansion. Expansion needed only when we cast the dental alloys or ceramic material for compensation of the shrinkage. In case solder, we are not need any expansion. So the quartz-based infestation, it is mainly specific for the soldering because it is transformation in the high temperatures. The other investment, the other type form of the silica is the tridimite, which gives expansion above 400 degrees centigrade. So the transformation started at 400 degrees centigrade. In case of cristabolite, it will give transformation around 220 degrees centigrade. So the transformation will come with lowest temperature when reaching 220 degrees centigrade. So the transformation will start from the silica from forms to the other forms. So the silica transfer from the forms, which sometimes is face simple cubic, will transfer to the face center tetragonal or hexagonal. It will give the arms will extend either into the length or into the width. So it will expand the material and will give an expansion after receiving the heat. Okay. The other form of the investment material, as we know, this is the phosphate bonded investment. So in phosphate bonded investment, it is the setting reaction. It is exothermic reaction. So the heat is started from the reaction. So the only thing which expansion can done, only the premature softening of the wax, which gives amount of expansion. But all expansion in phosphate bonded investment will start after when to start to receiving the heat. When they start to receiving the heat during burnout procedure. So the phosphate bonded investment, it will give amount of expansion, but the problem, and it is withstand the high temperature and withstand the mechanical property of that binder, phosphate binder. It is the mechanical property is high and the withstanding temperature at high temperature. So the only problem it is the porosity. The porosity low and porosity. So it needs vent or it needs auxiliary aim to escape of the gas as a vent as we know later on, or making the bridge during investing. This not more than 2 or 3 millimeter, and we have to scratch the area before the hardening of the investing material, and we put the investment into the ringless cast, into the ring which is made from paper or made from plastic when the setting is completed. So we have to remove the ring, but instead of gypsum bonded investment, we have to put into the metallic ring. No need to remove that metallic ring when the investment material receives the heat. But in case of set bonded investment, we have to remove the investing started with putting the sprue and the crucible form into the either paper or a plastic ring, and after seating we have to remove it, and we have to scratching the outside of the investment material to easy to withstand to withdraw the gases during the casting. So the problem for phosphate bonded investment, as we told you, it is the amount of expansion, it is unlimited amount of expansion. And the problem is from phosphate bond investment, it is needed vent to escape the gases because there is no porosity, minimal amount of porosity, or there is no porosity. So we have to do either to approximate the end of the investment 2-3 millimeter above the beyond the margin of the ring, and we have to use the ringless cast, either ring made from the paper or plastic, and after setting we have to remove it and expose the investment material directly to the heat. And we have to do venting to escape of gases. And the binder, the mixing of investment, in case of gypsum board investment, the material or the liquid will be water. So the water, and in case of phosphate bonded investment, the liquid will be either water or silica gel. In case of water, so there is when during seating, so the water evaporates. Sometimes will leave there is some bubbling into the mold, or sometimes this bubbling of the mold, and sometimes when we stand heat, it will crack in the mold, so it will give fence or either to give porosity. So the water, in case of water-based investment, so we have to be away from that there is sometimes bubbling, or sometimes there is wings or fins will be reproduced into the cast. So we have to select to get the silica gel as a liquid, to either to, for example, to give a smooth cast and want to give a rough cast, because in case of water, when you use it in phosphate bond investment, so evaporate early and will take bubbling effect, or give it the surface will be rough cast. So and it is difficult to finish it when it is in the metal, when it is casted after casting. So to avoid this problem, we have to take silica gel to do two things: to prevent, to give the smoothness for the cast after casting, and for easy finishing, and to prevent bubbling. If it is the bubbling, so bubbling effect will be prevented. And the second thing, to give the cast, to make the cast to increase the expansion, amount of expansion, because the silica in the liquid will add into the expansion. So in case of phosphate bonded investment, we have to use silica gel instead of water. If with water, we have to the removable premature softening, in case of water evaporate during setting and gives the cast the rough surface for the cast. And the second thing for silica gel, it will give the smooth cast, which the problem will be produced from the water as a liquid for the investment, and increase the amount of expansion. The same situation will be into the ether-based investment in case of phosphate bond investment, or magnesium-based or silicate-based investment. The same thing is that we know. This is in short, that is it is summary into the investment material. So the investment material, the binder, either it is gypsum bond investment, it is weak in mechanical property, withstanding the heat is low, so it is specific for all alloys. Okay. The only thing which it is easy to break or easy to eliminate from after casting, easy to break or easy to remove, or easy to break or disintegrate during after casting, and it will give the porosity to escape of gases, and also it will give three types of expansion: setting expansion during transfer of hemihydrate to dihydrate, and hygroscopic expansion, when the investment material to close the waters, and the other thing is it is the thermal expansion. In case of phosphate bonded investment, silicate bonded magnesia bases, zirconia bases, it gives only the thermal expansion during heat will transfer from the form to other forms, will give expansion to compensate the shrinkage from the gold during casting of the gold alloy or the ceramic materials. Okay. Now there is in case of casting, in the case of investing, we have to make the mold inside that surrounded by either gypsum bonded investment or silicate bonded investment or magnesia based investment or zirconia based investment. The investment give either heat setting expansion, hygroscopic expansion, or thermal expansion. Thermal expansion give by the اللي هو refractory material mainly silica. But in case of setting expansion, hygroscopic expansion, and thermal expansion give by the gypsum bonded investment binders. Setting expansion, hygroscopic expansion give by the binder gypsum bonded investment as a binder. This as a binder will give setting expansion and hygroscopic expansion. The thermal expansion given by the resistant product, it is given by the refractory material, which is the silica. In case of phosphate bonded, silicate bonded, magnesia based, zirconia based, the other three, it will give only the thermal expansion by the silica. So the casting ring, which can be used, metallic casting ring used by gypsum bonded investment to support the investment material, because during casting, because it will break, it will give support for the investment material. Metallic ring. The metallic ring used by, as we told before the lecture, it is lined by the liner. Liner either celluloid or celluloid liners or celluloid liners. The liners sometimes moist liner will add into the hygroscopic expansion. Okay. Or asbestos. The asbestos nowadays it cannot be used because it is carcinogenic for the lung. So asbestos cannot be used. So we have to use only the celluloid liners. In case of the phosphate bond investment, silicate bond investment, or magnesia based, we have to use a ringless cast. The cast either to give the form of the to occupy the form of the investment material during seating, and we remove it after seating and put the investment material directly to the oven for next procedure, which is burnout and thermal expansion procedures. So we have ringless cast, phosphate bonded system, magnesia based, silicate based, or zirconia based. The investment without ring. The ring, it is temporary, either it is paper or rubber or plastic. We have to remove after seating. But in case of the gypsum bond investment, we have the metallic ring to support the investment because and prevent it is breakage. In case of the liners, the liner are only given for the metallic ring or phosphate gypsum bonded investment, because we have to outline to give amount of freedom of expansion. In case of casting, we have low heat casting and high heat casting. In case of high heat casting, the high melting range of the metal ceramic alloy exceeded the upper limit of the gypsum investment. So the high heat casting, it is specific for ceramo-metal alloy or base metal alloy, because the temperature, it is higher than the temperature which can be withstood by the gypsum bonded investment. As we told you, the gypsum bonded investment, it is withstand the temperature up to 1200 degrees. After that, it will disintegrate and break. So we have to use high melting range. During this high melting range of the investment, so we have to do high heat casting investment. The heat casting investment, this is, as I told you, it is more 3 or 4 types: phosphate bonded investment, silicate bonded investment, magnesia based, or zirconia based, which when it is receiving the heat, so the mechanical property will increase it, not decrease it, and it will not disintegrate. It will not disintegrate. Phosphate bonded investment, maybe sometimes we have carbon containing or non-carbon containing. In case of carbon containing, so it cannot be used with the base metal alloy or some types of ceramo metal alloys, because it will incorporate carbon and will make them, the alloy will brittle. So in case of carbon containing, we have not used it with the gypsum bonded investment, and we are not used to, in case of base metal alloy or some types of ceramo metal alloy, it will, the carbon will incorporate into the alloy and make the color of the alloy black color, change into the color, and sometimes it will break. It produce carbon, it will be with nickel carbide or chromium carbide will make the alloy brittle. Non-carbon containing alloy, it is white in color, it is not dark in color, it will not darken the alloy. Use it with nickel chrome and cobalt chrome, and sometimes of ceramo metal alloy, palladium based alloys. These alloys, it is, when it is contaminated with carbon, it will make carbides and will make the alloy brittle. It will make the alloy brittle. It will make the alloy brittle. Main cast, so we have to use high heat casting investment. The high heat casting investment: phosphate bonded, silicate bonded, magnesia bonded, zirconia based. The only limitation for phosphate bonded investment, we have 2 limitations. If there is carbon content, we have not to use with the nickel chrome cobalt alloy or ceramo metal alloys. And when we use, sometimes we are not using water based investment, because it will give the rough cast. This is the limitation. So we have to know that the limitation of phosphate bonded investment, we have 2 limitations: carbon containing, not use with nickel chrome alloy, cobalt alloy, cobalt chrome alloy, or palladium based ceramo metal alloys. We cannot use it because it will make carbides to make the alloy brittle. So the other thing is, which limitation, it is not used water based investment, because it will give the rubber, it will give the rough cast. Main constituent, that is the binder, it is a magnesium oxide and ammonium phosphate. A magnesium oxide and ammonium phosphate. This is the binder, because phosphate is the binder is phosphate. The binder is phosphate. To continue, sorry, there's some break we have to take, and then we have to continue this lecture. So the main content is still binder as magnesium phosphate or magnesium oxide and ammonium phosphate. The filler is the silica, which is for quartz cristobolite or sediment or mixture, because sometimes we use mixture to have to limit this type of expansion. Either when we have to high expansion, so cristobolite, when we use quartz or cristobolite, so we have to compensate shrink expansion, which is done by the manufacturer. Investment casting alloy interaction. Variation can occur in the performance of the alloy with different investment material. Nodule formation and finish. As nodule and finish formation may occur frequently with one brand of investment, but sometimes nodule and finish produced with some brand of investment and some type of investment, and cannot produce it with the other type of investment. So we have to consider that nodule formation in fins sometimes produces some brand of investment and cannot produce other brand of investment. Therefore, it is prudent to conduct laboratory tests. So we have to do laboratory tests for that investment material before we use. If it is reproduced nodule or fin formation, we have to cancel this type of investment and to take another varieties, or we have to know how to compensate this defect, how to compensate the formation of to prevent formation of nodules and fins. Okay, as we told you, that is in phosphate bond gypsum bond investment, when it will stand the high temperature, will make cracking investment. Cracking investment will produce the fins. In case of phosphate bonded investment, sometimes there is nodules or the roughness in the surface, and sometimes there is fins. When it is water-based investment, you have to select the silica-based gel. Silica-based gel in case of the water used as a liquid. And in case of gypsum bond investment, you have to not to make the investment material receive the high heat because it will break, disintegrate, and will break fins. So nodules formation and fin formation, or the rough cast and fin formation, can be produced with phosphate bond investment when you use water as a liquid. In case, and to overcome this problem, we have to use the silica gel as liquid. In case of fins or nodules, in case of nodules, in case of gypsum bonded investment, or fins in case of gypsum bonded investment, we have to use it is with low heat alloy. In case of gold alloy, it is below 120 degrees centigrade to prevent the disintegration of the investment when receiving the high heat. It cannot be used with metal ceramic alloy or base metal alloys. So sometimes we have to do finting and finting for base metal, for phosphate bond investment or silicate bond investment, to completely evacuate the gas from the mold to prevent the formation of nodules, or either back pressure porosity or suck back porosity. In case of gypsum bond investment, is high porosity, so this problem will be good stand. So we are not do fins, or we have not to do the auxiliary spruce or fins or vent. This is the nodules. Of course, when we use sometimes water-based phosphate bond investment, it will be rough because it is make difficulty during finishing by the laboratories. It will take more stones, more pairs for the finishing, and it will give irregularity. Maybe when we do sometimes ceramic porcelain or ceramic over the metal framework, there is stress risers during finishing. There is rough cast, so it will break the ceramic materials. Casting ring liner. Asbestos ring liner, as it is told, it is when it is lining the metallic rings to give the freedom of expansion, to amount of expansion, to freedom of expansion, which we need to during expansion of the investment during either setting expansion, hygroscopic expansion, or thermal expansion. We have need the freedom of expansion, and the asbestos liners must be 1, 2, 3 millimeter from the upper end and lower end to make the interlocking during casting. The investment will not break. So the asbestos fiber, sometimes it is carcinogenic for the lung, so nowadays it cannot be used because it's hazard. Non-asbestos liner is ceramic aluminum silicate or cellulose, ceramic aluminum silicate or cellulose paper, ceramo-cellulose combination. This is nowadays it is used because this hazard, and ceramic aluminum silicate, cellulose paper, or ceramo-cellulose combination. That what I want to use. So this is either asbestos liner or asbestos-based ring liners, or non-asbestos-based ring liner, the ceramic aluminum silicate, cellulose paper, or ceramo-cellulose. This is mandatory. You have to know if it is, for example, in exam or in any other situations. because it is less hazardous. This type is less hazardous than the asbestos liner. This liner will give the freedom expansion and will add into the hygroscopic expansion, which is when it is closed, which is moistened with water, when it moistened with waters. And it is used only with ceramic when there is metallic ring, used with the metallic rings. Ring cast. With ringless cast, we are not. Well, the liner, it is not needed sometimes. Purpose of cast liner to commonly use a technique to provide investment expansion, freedom expansion, or hygroscopic expansion. It will be the thickness. It should not be less than 1 millimeter because it will moist with water and to give access to hygroscopic expansion. And this will give the amount of expansion. If it is this, so there is sometimes the expansion will not enough. So because especially when using the metallic rings, so it will be the thickness of not less than 1 millimeter. This is mandatory, you know. From the end, it is free by 3 millimeter from either upper end or lower end to make interlocking to less possibility to break the investment. This is 3 millimeter from the up end of the ring. This is 3 millimeter from the lower end for interlocking. This is the thickness, this than not less than 1 millimeter to give the freedom of expansion during casting, during casting. Fisting technique. This is the technique which now it is. This is mainly it is not it is my field or field. The wax pattern must be cleaned or diluted. It must be cleaned to remove any debris, any grazing by oil or grease material. To remove any oil or grease material because it is used during wax pattern construction. So to have to cleaning or dilute the detergent, cleaning the pattern to remove any debris or any gases, greases or oils into the surface. Reduce the thin film of the cleaner on the bed. So the cleaner must be used in the thin films because when it is used in the thick films, so it may be give the either to give the it will give the rough cut. It will give the rough cast. The cleaner or the lubricant will reduce the surface tension and increase the surface energy. So the mean of the cleaner or thin cleaners that we use, it is not so thick. It is lubricant or wax lubricant. So it is a thin and diluted dilute solution. So it will increase the surface energy and decrease the surface tension to make the wax compatible with the investing material, or to make the investment material wetting the wax. With the wax, the investment material will wet the wax. So this is the thing, and it is not so. It is not so. It must be thin. It must be thin. If it is thick, so it will give the rough cast. Investment mixing, either it is hand mixing or vacuum mixing. Nowadays it is using vacuum mixing because all the bubble or air can be eliminated by the vacuum. If the hand mix, so you have to know there is a specific situation to mix the hand by the hand to reduce or limit the bubble inside the cast. So inside the investment. So when you mix investment, it must be bubble free because the bubble will reduce the rough cast or regular cast. This rough cast will be difficult for finishing. Okay, either into the surface or inside the mold. Okay, the amount of porosity in the investment is reduced when we use this either vacuum mixing investment with better detail reproduction. Compressed stress is increased. So during mixing or the investing material mixing, either with hand or vacuum, the two things must we know, that is the porosity will be increased or eliminated. There is no porosity must be into the cast, either into the outer surface or inner surface. as details, it must give the smooth cast with better details. The compressed stress of the fixed material must be increased during mixing. Okay. When there is some example for some the porosity when the porosity present in the cast or the fixed material, so it is controversial that compressed strength would be decreased and the details would be decreased and the surface become rough. Vacuum, it is a vacuum machine vacuum powder mixtures. The investment material casting ring is filled up to the rim, up to end of the rim, filled up to rim, up to the end, as we fill the cup of water or the cup of Pepsi or juice. Allow the investment to sit or cup of any powder. Allow the investment sit about 1 hour. The investment will give the investment to sit 1 hour after mixing, or filling after mixing and filling into the ring, filling the investment with the ring till the rim. So give 1 hour for seating. Burnout procedure. Burnout will make into the oven, which the oven will make the wax out and evacuate the mold from the wax. The burnout must be immediately after infesting. Procedure does not, if burnout does not immediately, crucible form is carefully removed. 1 hour investment technique, 1 hour for the setting of investment. Crucible form of the base, which is hanging the screw must be removed. If it is metal screw, you have to sway a little heat, little softening with the heat, and then it is removed. Careful not to break the investment during the removal. If it is wax screw, it will eliminate it after during the burnout procedure. If the burnout procedure does not immediately follow infesting, place the ring. If we were not to do burnout immediately after infesting, so you put the infesting ring into the humidity. The area, it is either to cover it with the water and have the kerchief moistened with water till the casting, till infesting, till burnout. Wax elimination and heating. Infesting ring is placed in the room temperature, so it's put in the room temperature. Phosphate bond infesting temperature runs raising from 700 to 870 degree. Temperature rate of rise for the burnout, there must be 10 degree intervals. You are not able to run higher temperature from the beginning, or the time interval, it is not less than the temperature rise, it must not more than 10 degrees centigrade, 10 degree per minute, because it will give for this calculation will be disintegrate the investment material and will give the fins and it will produce the casting defect. So it must be 10 degrees centigrade, because the investment material, it is low thermal conductivity. So to prevent this thermal shock, so the temperature rise must be 10 degrees per minute. This is important to prevent the thermal shock. The thermal shock will break the investment, will disintegrate the investment, will produce the fins and will produce the cast will be maybe there is the cast will be incomplete cast. Either the margin is lost or some details will be lost. It is advisable to be burnout procedure while the mold, it must be, the mold will be wet. If the mold it is not wet, so the wax will go through the pores inside the investment or through the fins, so it will close the fins. It will make the cast will either to suck back porosity, back pressure porosity, it will produce back pressure porosity, or it makes the cast will become rough cast. So to prevent this problem, that the wet mold, so the water will flush, and when the water flush, so the air will escape from the place which is relieved by the water, will make the porosity or the fence open. Okay, so this is situation I have to concentrate in these points. So you have to know this. If we go, for example, we are not put the investment into the moist, into the water, or the investment into the wet. It's visible to if the investment is not wet, so the porosity, the wax will be introduced into the pores. And when the wax will be burning and will disintegrate, more carbide will be introduced into the material. So sometimes will be brittle, it is base metal alloy, ceramic metal alloy, or sometimes the air cannot come out because the pores will fill with the wax. So there is air incorporated into the cast, either to give back pressure porosity, or sometimes it will give the rough cast. To prevent this, though, so you do the burnout when the mold is still wet. When the mold is still wet, must be the mold is still wet. So before 5 minutes before do infesting or casting, so you have to put into the water for 5 minutes and then start the burnout procedure. Water trapped in the pores of investment reduce absorption of the wax. The wax will be the water will go inside the pores, so it will not allow the wax to go through the pores. It will make the porosity open. So this situation, as I concentrate to know, they must to know, because sometimes then laboratory and the cast will receive the cast from the laboratory with some defects or some problem. So when you not to put the wet into the wet, so the wax will incorporate into the pores and will not allow the air to come out. Okay, so when we put into the water, so the water will fill the pores, will not allow the water to flush through the pores, okay. Melting, and this is important, you know. So they have to cold mold to prevent the wax to obstruct or fill the porosity, or to fill the fence, the area through which the air will relieve. So we know we need the area, either the fence or porosity to leave the mold, to give the space for the alloy. So when you do dry, when when the infesting will dry, so the wax will flush and fill the porosity and fill the fence, and do not allow the obstruct the fence and the porosity of the investment, and not allow the air to become out. But if there is water, so the water will fill the porosity and the fence, and will then laterally will evaporate and leave the space through which the air or can leave the mold and give the good decal. If it is not so, either to back pressure porosity, or there is the roughness of the cast. Melting and casting technique. In melting, we have to melt after burnout. We're putting into the burnout oven, and the temperature rise must be 10 degrees centigrade for each minute. And before that, when we do, sometimes the investment will be take 1 hour to set, and after that, either to put into the relative humidity into the water, or cover with a moist handkerchief, and or either if before investing 5 minutes you have to dip it into water to make the to produce the cold mold as I told you before. Melting and casting technique. We have to melt the alloy. So we have to melt the alloy. So we have to do melting of the alloy and do casting technique to introduce the alloy inside the mold. So the melting is the procedure to make the alloy liquid state, and the casting the procedure to introduce the melted alloy inside to fill the mold, to fill the mold. The melting and casting technique require heat sources. So the melting needs heat sources to transform the alloy from the solid state to the liquid state. It needs the heat sources. Casting forces to introduce the melted alloy inside the mold to fill the mold. So melting. So we have to melting source to make the alloy, transfer the alloy from the solid state to the liquid state, and the casting force, that the force which is derived or to push the melted alloy to fill the mold which produced by the investment material, or which it is empty after the burnout. So burnout to remove all the oxygen inside, make the mold vacant, and the alloy during casting will introduce it inside the mold and to fill the mold and the fins and the porosity when the alloy is starting filling the mold, so the pressure will allow the air to leave the mold and replace it by the molten alloy. This is the torch. It is either open, it is multi-orifice. You have to here it is multi-opening for coming or leaving out of the fires, and sometimes it is pointed. It is one orifice, single orifice, or multi-orifice to this multi-point during which the fire leaving. Single orifice, there is only one orifice during the fire which leaving. Casting torus selection. Multi-orifice torus. We need multi-orifice torus for the casting of dental alloy or ceramo-metal alloy. Why? Because the fire or coming from multi-opening, so it will distribute it in all the alloy pieces, which for burning or for making when it is in the solid state transferring to the liquid state. And during the solid state, the alloy must be, all the area of the alloy must be covered with the heat. So we need the multi-orifice torus during casting. For single orifice torus, you need it mainly for soldering. For soldering, to concentrate the solder into the fire into the area when the solder will be done. So this is the heat sources. So this is the zones. The outer zone, it is oxidizing zone. The inner zone, it is this is the close to the orifice. It is mixed zone. This is the reduced zone, and this is the oxidizing zone. So the casting will be done into the reducing zone. It will not be done into the oxidizing zone. It is oxidizing zone. It is the color. It is blue. The color it is yellowish, so it is more oxide here, and in the mixed zone also it is slightly green, so the color will be mixed here. So so the flame will be mixed here, and here also mixed. This is comparative oxide here, So to prevent contamination of oxide to the alloy, to make an alloy becomes black and brittle, so we have to during burnout, so to burn out the alloy into the reducing zone, which is the demi blue, which is free of oxygen. There is no oxides to prevent oxidation of the alloy. Okay. The choice of fuels. The fuels, acetylene or natural gas propane. So the fuels which make the torch working with the firewall and produce it, either acetylene or natural gas, غاز طبيعي أو propane. So acetylene, natural gas, or propane. This is the fuel into the cylinder, and this is connecting as this fuel which is using into your kitchens. So zone of the flames. We have the zone of the flames. It is the zone. It is near the orifice. It is not as mixed zone. It is slightly green inside. Composition zone. It is mixed zone. It is slightly red inside. This is slightly red. There is no heat here near the orifice. Composition zone. This is the second zone. It is green. It is the second zone. The third zone, it is the reducing zone. It is the hottest part of the zone. It is the color. It is dummy blue or light blue. Oxidizing zone. This is the external zone. It is converted to oxygen. It is yellowish inside. So this is the mixed zone. It is red. So there is no gases. The composition zone, it is mixed with gases. So this color is green. And the reducing zone, which the zone during which this is the zone for burnout. This is the zone for melting of the alloy. So we melt the alloy into the reducing zone. It is the hottest part of the flame. أسخن حاجة في الفليم اللي هي reducing zone. فلذلك احنا لما نشوف الغاز في الحوش، إذا كان النار متاعها زرقاء معناها بيطيب الماكلة بدون لا تنحرق المكرونة المبكة ولا واحدة. إذا كان النار صفراء معناها هتنزل وتنحرق والمكرونة هتشيط. فلذلك لازم احنا we have to reduce. لازم تكون النار هادية اللي هي دامي، وفي نفس الوقت يكون لونها بلو باش ما يصيرش فيه بيرنينج لا للكاست ولا يصير فيه مشكلة during البيرن اوت. ما يصيرش فيه بيرنينج للالوي باش ما يوليش لونه اسود او يولي تخش فيه الاكاسيد داخل ويولي بريتل. صار اذا كان درناه في خالي الزون هذا ريديوسينج زون في الصفراء ولا مش عارف الخضراء ولا مكان فيه نار بكر في الاورفيس بتاعي، في الحالة هذه تشين حيكون الالوي ما يصيرش ميلتنج بالكامل، معناها ما يصيرش متحولش ليكويد بالكامل، وفي نفس الوقت ينحرق ويولي لونه اكحل ومعاش يولي لونه ملايم شوي، وصعب ان احنا نلوحوا من الكحولية هذه تاكل كله. وفي نفس الوقت يخلي الالوي شنو يخلي الالوي ممكن يتكسر بالاستعمال، ممكن يتكسر ينطبق التركيبة تنطبق او يصير في بيرفوريشن للكراون او للبريدج بتاعي او التركيبة ممكن تتكسر. فلذلك this is the way. So ديما المنتج يكون يا دكاترة او دكاترة المستقبل ان شاء الله يكون for reducing zone. لونها شنو هي؟ So we have to melt the alloy into the reducing zone to prevent things. The first thing to prevent oxidizing of the alloy, discoloration of the alloy, and to prevent the brittleness of the alloy. Okay. Casting machine. So after burnout, so immediately to do casting. Why? Because if we delay, the mold will be dry and the infestment will be into the cold state. So during burnout, so sometimes there's disintegration of the infestment and the alloy cannot completely fill the mold during casting. So the cast will be either becomes the fence, a lot of fence, because during casting the investment will break, or sometimes the investment will break, or sometimes the filling of the mold is reduced. Casting machine, or we have to leave it in the next lecture, so we finish the casting technique into the next lecture, because this topic will take time, I think so, and we go through the casting defect and finishing and casting defect, and we have to next today maybe we'll go through this lecture. نشكركم على الاستماع طبعا، وإن شاء الله تكونوا موفقين في الكلام هذا.